What do you mean by being?
What do I mean by being? In the case of what we're talking about something which is something which perpetuates itself, like especially in terms of biology. Like that's a really that I think that's a good way of thinking about it, right? Something that's autopoietic and that is agentic, that acts on other things.
So would a mollusk be a being?
I mean, to some extent, it's a lower being, right? That's how it's traditionally understood, is that there is a hierarchy of beings in terms of how uh let's say
Okay.
agentic they
Yeah.
are, and how conscious also. I mean, there's a relationship between conscious and
Yeah.
unprometheus. It's not exactly the same, but there is a relationship.
Okay.
And then you notice that there are agentic patterns that run through groups of people, right?
Okay.
And that those have a type of coherence, and you can recognize it across, right? So you can know
Okay.
what war is because there are people in Papua New Guinea in war, and there are people in America in war, and there are people in China in war, and they're all manifesting a single pattern that is coherent and is agentic because nobody's controlling it. There's no one in the war that is totally
Okay. I am with
controlled,
you. I'm with you.
right?
I'm with
Well,
you.
that's what a god is, Peter.
Okay. Now you lost me.
How did I lose you?
I
These are little gods. These are the angels. These are the demons. These are the
okay.
small agentic beings that we see run through our society, and we can
Okay.
recognize, so we can see that someone is possessed by a certain type of agency, and they no longer have control of their being, and so we say they're possessed by a demon.
Okay.
But the problem with these gods, right, is that obviously they don't all want the same thing, and so they fight with each other.
Conflicting
Not only
interests.
not only the gods fight with each other, but then the groups fight with each other.
Okay.
Okay, and so you see the agency that's running through them is in competition with the other, and so you can experience that inside yourself. The same thing, right? So you have lust, and you have this other desire, or you have hunger, you have things that you have pride, you have all these things that are running, and you can recognize them across people. So it's like if I experience lust, I can see that when you experience lust, it seems to be similar, and so I can recognize.
God, I hope not.
I hope not. And so then what happens is that at some point you realize that there is something which can bind all of those together. And so we can't. So maybe we can, to some extent, disagree to what that is. And so we'll say being. We'll say I am, right? So God in the Bible says, I am that I am. So I am being itself. All right. So being itself seems to align all of these different agencies together. Or the infinite. So we say God is infinite. God is all this, all knowing, all, like he's just all. And so we can notice that the hierarchy of gods culminates into the absolute. We have to bind all of these multiplicities into a top unity.
Why can't the thing that binds be an evolutionary impulse?
Beings that are higher than us also try to perpetuate themselves.
What do you mean?
Nations are agentic. Nations try to defend themselves from other beings. They act analogously to beings at a lower level. They act like big cells.
Isn't being only found in beings?
Is what?
Isn't
Yeah.
being only found in beings?
Well, it's found incarnated, you could say, in beings, but it nonetheless calls, right? It calls towards something, right? It calls towards